Hello and welcome to Movie Mayhem here at Superior Works Cinema, where we watch all the movies. Today we've got another series review. This is going to be of the Halloween series. So, everyone's familiar with John Carpenter's Halloween, 1978. While technically not the first slasher film, Carpenter even recognizes the Bava and even Argento influences. It really was the first mainstream in the U.S. movie ever like that. And obviously it triggered a whole slew of movies over the next decade. I'm not really going to talk much about Carpenter's Halloween. I'll save that for a John Carpenter retrospective. The movie is near flawless. Highly recommended. If you haven't seen it, you absolutely have to see it. The only one negative thing I would ever say about it is I never liked Jamie Lee Curtis casting. She was good at screaming, but I don't know. I just didn't like her. But other than that, Halloween is still going to be a perfect 10 movie. Absolutely see that. And there's a awesome version supposedly coming out in October, a 35th anniversary with brand new scans. So, looking forward to that. So we're going to start with, and primarily focus on, the sequels. Carpenter did not direct any of the sequels. I know at one time he wanted to. He wanted to do a Michael in space, which makes sense, especially with his sense of humor, to get rid of him. And they make some snide comment about that as well, I believe in part 5 or no, it was 6. It was 6, so they make a joke about Michael Myers being in space. Honestly, they should have let him do it. I think it would have been a cool movie. So, let's start here. Big hit, 1978 Halloween, made tons of money. Largest grossing independent film released. So, obviously, they need a sequel, right? Carpenter didn't want to do it. The story goes, he didn't get hardly any money out of Halloween. And Akkad and the guys that own the rights said, well, hey, write us a sequel, and we'll pay you for that. So, we get Halloween 2. It's, Halloween 2 takes place immediately following Halloween 1. Now, I'm going to assume everyone's seen Halloween, so there's going to be spoilers throughout this. The end of Halloween leaves us not knowing where Michael is, what happened to Michael, what is Michael. That's really good, and it's a very Carpenter-esque ending. And I always view that movie as independent of the sequels. It's far more impactful. 2 picks up with Michael wandering around right after he fell from the building and Loomis looks and he's not there. And this is Michael meandering through the town, killing a few more people. Now, immediately you've got a gore factor. Right? This was made in 81. You got a 3-year jump. You've had the release of Friday the 13th, plus several other independent type slasher films come out. So, way steps up the blood. The original Halloween, there are blood coming out of someone. I believe there's only one shot. And it's not you see something go in and blood come out. You see blood dripping in a cutaway. And that was part of the genius of the way Carpenter did it. People thought the movie was horrifically violent, but it wasn't. It didn't show anything. 2, Rick Rosenthal takes over for directing. You still got Carpenter on as a producer credit and writing credit. But, you can tell right off the bat, this is not a Carpenter film. The lighting is nothing like you'd ever see in a Carpenter movie. The pacing is different. Everything. This is a psycho killer in a hospital. And that's really what it is. There's Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, is taken to the hospital, and Michael needs to go find her and kill her because he has to, which is fine. Well, that's fine. You've got the typical characters you'd see most slasher movies, and it's basically just an hour and a half of Michael Myers Well, the first part is him walking through the city killing people, and the second part is him walking through the hospital killing people. Really not much to talk about. It's okay. It's a good slasher sequel. It's entertaining, but it's a bare bones slasher flick. You know, I like Friday the 13th films, so I enjoy this. That's all there is to it, but it lacks the intensity and the suspense of the first one. So it's always disappointing watching them. If you watch them back to back, I always feel let down watching 2. If I watch 2 on its own and I haven't seen 1 in a little bit, it's pretty fun to watch. It's a good slasher flick, and that's what I expected out of it. The director, Rick Rosenthal, I really didn't go on to do much. He did a couple movies right after this. I know Bad Boys was one of them, and then the rest of his career is pretty much TV. And I kind of felt that. You feel that TV vibe just in his lighting. He doesn't have that artistic cinema lighting vibe. It's just more plain and simple, but it's a fun flick. It stays in canon through the whole series, so if you're going to watch the whole series, you definitely have to watch 2. Fun little movie. Next up, we have Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So the story of this one goes, Carpenter, as a producer, wanted to make an anthology film series. Now, not your typical anthology where you've got one movie with 3, 4, 5, however many stories in one film. No, he wanted to make a series of films. You have Halloween, Season of the Witch. Next would have been Halloween, something else completely unrelated. Great concept. I wish I could have seen what would have happened had Halloween 3 done well. It didn't. It did terrible, complete box office bomb, so we never got to see any more of Carpenter's idea of this. A couple problems. I mean, as a producer, it's a great idea. Total genius. But he didn't write it or direct it. You know, did some music, which the music is different. It feels a lot like The Fog, but it's still worth checking out the soundtrack. You got Tommy Lee Wallace to direct it, who was the Shape in the original movie. And, I mean, the big problem is Wallace's script just it's okay, and it would have been great as a 30-minute short on, like, the new Twilight Zone at that time, or A Tales from the Dark Side, or something like that. And, again, at the time of release, there were already established horror sequels, and horror sequels kind of carried over with the same killer. So Halloween 3 comes out, and audiences go in there thinking, okay, it's going to be Michael Myers. And it's not. It's nothing about Michael Myers. It is Halloween, but it's not even really a horror movie. It's more of a science fiction thriller. I mean, you've got high-tech gadgets that can blast lasers. I mean, so the story is you got Silver Shamrock, and they make these masks that have devices on them, and they want to get all the kids to buy them because they worship some alien stone. I don't know, maybe it's Cthulhu. But when the device activates, it kills the kid and makes bugs come out of them, which in turn kill anybody around the kid. Okay, I mean, that's kind of creepy. The fact they're willing to off kids is already kind of a shock value, and that might have hurt the box office too. But you got one instance where the lady's tampering with the trademark symbol, and it blasts a laser, exploding her head. Okay, wait, lasers? So now we're talking, what are these, space aliens? I mean, what's going on? Why are there lasers? And then later you figure out all these people are like robot androids? Okay. Again, had this just been called Season of the Witch, not Halloween 3, I think it would have done much better. But it's not really a horror movie. It's just a science fiction thriller. A lot like something like you'd see on The Outer Limits, especially. That would be the perfect vibe for this movie. You've got, I mean, the acting is fine, and the plot is fairly coherent until you get to the end with the climax. And again, they never explain what's the point? There's just so many holes. So only kids that happen to be watching the TV show at the time of this commercial are going to die, and their families are going to die. Well, what about kids that didn't watch that TV show? What about 80% of the planet that doesn't even celebrate Halloween? Wait, what's the end game here? What are they trying to achieve? You could have even clarified it with something simple like the main guy saying, oh, the dark elder gods from beyond need a sacrifice of 10,000 innocent souls. Okay, there you go. I got it. But they never say anything like that, so you're more left with, wait, why is he doing this? And the android thing it's kind of goofy. I don't know. It's okay. Nothing fantastic. It's worth checking it out if you've never seen it. Obviously, watching the series, you can totally skip it because it has nothing to do with any of the other movies. But it's an interesting 80s flick that if you haven't seen, I recommend seeing it just to get an idea, and you'll understand immediately why it didn't do well in the box office, being called Halloween 3. So after the utter failure of Halloween 3 in the box office, they waited 6 years until '88 to bring out another movie. This time, however, they opted to go back to Michael Myers. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, any producer in their right mind would have done that at that point. By this point, Carpenter is completely out of the game. He has nothing to do with this anymore. They still credit him for creating the theme, and, he's given creation credits. But he has nothing to do with the movies beyond Part 3. Halloween 4 is directed by Dwight Little, who, interestingly, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He did Mark for Death with Steven Seagal. He did another horror flick, Phantom of the Opera, with Robert Englund. Very cool movie. But Halloween 4 picks up after the events of 2. So it keeps everything in canon. You have Danielle Harris playing Laurie Strode's daughter, and Laurie Strode is now dead. And Michael never died in the fire. He's been in a hospital since then, and he miraculously wakes up and wants to come after Danielle Harris's character. And, there's not a lot of gore in the movie. Again, it was 1988. This is kind of when they were being really picky about showing penetration of weapons, because apparently if you see an axe go into somebody's head, they're going to go crazy. You can show the axe in their head already. That's perfectly fine. So, I'm not sure what to make of that. But that's the story centered around Danielle Harris's character. This was her first movie. She's very good for a child actress, and that kind of sells the movie. I enjoy Halloween 4 a lot. I think it's a fun movie. It's a slasher, but again, I think it's better than 2. It's more entertaining. I like the characters more. You got Donald Pleasence coming back as Loomis, again, being crazed. You're fairly entertaining with this. The only thing, again, straight ahead slasher, you got a bunch of teenagers who get killed off. By the end of the movie, the Danielle Harris's character and her older adopted family sister, they end up being alive at the end of the movie. And after all the trauma, Danielle Harris goes up and we see her put on the mask because she's dressed as a clown, and she puts on her mask and stabs her adopted mother. And then she's standing at the top of the stairs with blood on her on the scissors, and Loomis is freaking out because he sees it, and it ends there. It was kind of a cool idea. You're saying, oh, now she's gonna take over and be psycho, which would have been kind of silly. But I think Dwight Little did a good job of making this film. It's a nice slasher film, very straightforward. It adds a little bit of eeriness to what's going on. You continue, he's going to kill every member of his family, no matter what. They've got to die. Okay, makes sense. at the point they think they've gotten rid of him, she kind of inherited this evil thing in her, so maybe the whole family's cursed. They did a trick. They don't actually kill Michael Myers on screen. He falls into a mine shaft, and that's all. So, of course, watching this, you gotta know there's a sequel. They didn't, they're not gonna wait too long. And Halloween 4 was a success in the box office. So they turn around, and within a year, you got Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. There's a lot of problems with Halloween 5. The good, you've got Danielle Harris back. She's still cool. Of course, they make it so this picks up right after, a year after the other one, but she's been in a children's mental hospital. Apparently she didn't kill her mom, she just stabbed her, and now she can't talk. And she's also got a psychic link to Michael. Okay. The not talking thing is annoying. It's dumb. It has no point at all. I don't know why they do it. So that part's kind of irritating. The director of Halloween 5, Dominique Othenin-Girard, the only other movie he did that I'd heard of is Omen 4, which, wow, that was horrible. So, I'm not sure what he was on. There is some really weird context confusion. They've got two bumbling cops. They just constantly are making weird jokes that don't make sense. And in one scene at the beginning of the movie where the babysitter had called in, she thought she saw somebody watching her, which it was Michael. The cops and Danielle Harris has seen visions of Michael coming to kill her, so Loomis convinces him to go check out the house, and she had to run out of the house. They go check out the house, and they come out, and this music, it's like... It's the most bizarre, goofy clown music ever, and these two guys come out just completing each other's sentences like a bad Laurel and Hardy sketch. I have no idea why the music is there, or why those two idiots are played that way in the movie. And they're always goofy. The music only appears that one time we first see these characters, but I guess they're comic relief? I mean, the rest of the movie is Michael going around killing people again. You get some nice kills. They're fairly brutal. But the parts where Danielle Harris sees visions of people dying are very erratic. Sometimes she sees them way before. Sometimes she sees them because they're happening, when they're happening. Other times she sees them because they might have happened. And then yet, a couple times, she doesn't see them at all. So... I don't really understand the logic behind her psychic visions. When does she get them? When does she not get them? She gets upset that her adoptive sister's friend she might get killed, so she talks. Break the not talking thing. Michael kills another dog. Again, it's an okay sequel. I don't think it's as good as 4. It's not as fun as 4. The big gag here is the end. This is, throughout the whole movie, all of a sudden we notice Michael has a tattoo, or let's call it a birthmark. And there's this other guy with fancy boots and a hat that walks around mysteriously the whole movie. We never know what he's going to do. He's even in the house during the climax where Loomis tries to finally kill Michael, which, I kind of always thought Loomis was going to die here, but he ends up being in 6, so he didn't die. And of course, all of his things are for naught. I don't know why they keep trying to shoot this guy. I mean, they have evidence that he can be shot and burned and everything else, and it doesn't kill him. Why bother even trying to shoot him? It doesn't do anything. But at any rate, at the end of the movie, they arrest Michael and put him in jail. Okay, fine. And then Mystery Man walks into the jail, and we get this shot of him with like a Tommy gun just gunning down. You don't see any death. You just see him firing in slow motion, and then cut cut to the prison. It's totally destroyed. The bars are blown off the hinges. There's smoldering fire everywhere. I don't know what kind of rounds he's using in this gun, but apparently they blow up metal too. Everybody's dead, and Michael's gone in the movie. Kind of cool. I mean, you want to run a sequel. Sequels with these slasher type films, I'm willing to accept a lot. It can be stupid. Just keep the continuity. Give me something interesting. Why am I keeping... Okay, so now at this point I'm like, really? Well, who the hell is this guy? What's he doing? Do they have mystical powers? What's going to happen next? Well, apparently, whatever happened next took quite a while. So we don't get the part 6 and the what happened with this strange man until 6 years later, in 1995. We get Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Joe Chappelle directed that one. He also did Phantoms with Affleck. And then mostly TV. It seems to be a trend with guys that do Halloween films, do a lot of TV afterward. Donald Pleasence returned, and interestingly, you have Paul Rudd in this movie. He's pretty good. Very early role for him. I'm not sure, it might have been his first role, but it's kind of surprising to see him at this point. Now, if you know anything about the history of these movies, you know that Halloween 6 had some very big problems. One of being which Donald Pleasence died before finishing the movie. So they kind of hacked together a cut. There is a producer's cut available on traded VHS from back in the old convention days, or torrents of it. Very poor quality. It's a little more coherent than what you get in the final product here. But let's talk about the movie as presented, what most people have seen. It's a little confusing. They did not get Danielle Harris back. I guess she wanted too much money. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They really should have, and whatever they wanted, they should have paid her. But we get another actress playing it, and she's had a baby. She's been in captivity with this cult. The cult that saved Michael at the end of part 5. And she's having a baby. And this baby, I guess, is going to be their ultimate evil. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're bringing Cthulhu again into the baby. But, so Michael, hangs out. He's kind of like the strong man of this cult. And at the beginning of the movie, she's escaping with her baby through the help of one of the attendants. And, she gets out. And we see Michael. He offs the people that helped her. We're introduced to Paul Rudd, who plays he's the same character. He was the little boy that Jamie Lee Curtis was babysitting in Halloween, the original movie. I like that. Very cool. Some neat little continuity ties. They kill off Strode, Danielle Harris's character. I forgot the actress that plays her in 6. They kill her off pretty early, and we're left with the baby, which Paul Rudd finds. He's more of a conspiracy theory guy, and the whole thing's kind of centered around this talk show where crazies call in. His character's likable. I mean, Paul Rudd does a good job. And honestly, the movie is pretty good. It's pretty solid. You got good kills, good violence. You've got the continuity from the previous films, tying everything in. Loomis is retired now. And the thought that Michael Myers is coming back makes him come out of retirement and try to find him. And all that's really good. It kind of breaks down near the last half of the movie, where you can tell they didn't have footage they needed, and it is piecemealed together. It's confusing. You kind of got to fill in the gaps yourself. It ends up that, the cult is trying to bring about the ultimate evil through this baby because of the legacy of Michael Myers. The cult is led by the director of the hospital, who tricks Loomis into, trying to trick Loomis into helping him. And, at the end, you've got Paul Rudd's character and the girl that lives across the street living in the old Myers house. They escape. And they've beaten Michael Myers over the head. What's this going to do? We know that's not going to kill him. And we're left with Donald Pleasence tells him goodbye, and he turns to go back into the building where Michael Myers is, and that's the end of the movie. I mean, there's a lot of problems with that. We needed the last scene. What happened? Did he fight Michael Myers? Did he kill him? They were working with what they had left, so it's kind of confusing, and you can kind of make up your own ending. But I enjoyed this movie. For what it was, it's the weaker of the 4, 5, 6 series, just because the coherency's kind of lost. But the acting is good, and Paul Rudd's character's entertaining. He has some depth there. Loomis, of course, is Loomis. By this point, he was getting a little repetitive, like, he's evil, must be destroyed. I mean, really, dude, just get a rocket launcher at this point. We know you want to kill him. And he didn't. So this kind of nailed in the coffin the series, because it was not well received. Again, how could it be? The movie was hacked to pieces. It didn't really... It was hard to follow. It's only going to work if you're a fan of the series and really want to see the characters. So, in their infinite wisdom, they decided Michael Myers needed to come back 3 years later. It was a 20th anniversary, 1998, of the original Halloween. So, what better way than make a new movie? So they grabbed Steve Miner to helm it. Now, Steve Miner did do Friday the 13th, Part 2 and 3. He's done a couple other feature films, Lake Placid, the god-awful remake Day of the Dead. But the rest of his stuff is TV. So, you get Halloween, the very coolly titled H2O, because we're hip. They do some things right. They got Jamie Lee Curtis back. I mean, otherwise, honestly, I don't think this movie would have done anything. You got Jamie Lee Curtis back. They're hip and cool. They also got LL Cool J. Josh Hartnett makes his first appearance in this movie. And in the beginning, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it too. He dies off fairly quickly. You got some interesting cast in there. These are, I'm guessing, Miramax's favorite people kind of thing. They're trying to promote them. But here comes the big problem. Halloween H2O decided they're going to can the continuity of 4, 5, and 6. And this is going to pick up right after Part 2, 20 years ago. Now, I know some people thought, it was getting too bloated. Well, really, these are stupid slasher sequels. Who cares? Keep the continuity. If you can't keep the continuity, you're just doing remakes, really. That's all you're doing. So, they decided to keep some of the continuity, but not the rest. You could have easily done it. Easily. Laurie Strode's death was faked. And she was maybe she didn't know about having the baby. That would be okay. Why wipe out all the continuity? So now you've got, for no apparent reason, Michael Myers waited 20 years. And after 20 years, he decides to go to California to find Laurie Strode and kill her. Wait, why? Why did he wait 20 years? What? I didn't understand the need to remove what happened in 4, 5, and 6. Not only are fans that liked 4, 5, and 6 and watched them over that period left going, wait, what happened? What happened to the cult? What happened with Michael Myers at the end of 6? I have no idea, because I had a half-finished movie. They could have wrapped it up with this Part 7. They could have done that and made the fans happy and then continued on with the same movie. There's nothing in this movie that demanded you remove what happened in 4, 5, and 6. You could have changed half a dozen lines that purposely negated what happened in 4, 5, and 6, like nothing's happened in 20 years, and fixed it. But, I mean, so at any rate, the first problem with this movie is it looks like a TV movie. Wow, the lighting is horrible. It's bright. There is no point of suspense in this movie at all. Hartnett plays Jamie Lee Curtis's kid, and they're in a private school, and Michael shows up there. LL Cool J, who they hired to be hip and cool with the kids, plays a security guard who wants to write romance novels at first. He decides he's going to write a thriller later. Who cares? It's just a mess. It's dumb. The movie is just dumb. Now we're at the 90s point, the late 90s, early 2000s horror thing, the post-Scream phenomena where no one is afraid of the killer. Ever. They'll gladly walk up and punch him and fight him because there's no fear. You can watch somebody have their entrails pulled out and tied around their neck, and you're not going to be afraid of the guy. No, you're all pretty much hardened veterans, and you just go up and deck him. It's so stupid. If they're not scared, why would I be scared? You know, there's a scene, and it's so stupid. Jamie Lee Curtis and her male friend are running away from Michael, and they see coming up the stairs a shadow, which is the shadow of Michael Myers, dead on. You know they were filming the guy in the Michael Myers suit walking up the stairs. And then around comes the corner, comes a shorter, thicker, bald figure. Not Michael Myers. But of course, the guy just opens fire, blasting away. Falls down. It's LL Cool J. Oh my God, we killed him. But apparently then, he comes back later. He was just grazed in his head and went unconscious. First of all, how did they do that? And then Michael Myers jumps out of the door right next to him and chases him around. The movie's just stupid. At the end of it, she stabs Michael, and she's hovering over him with the knife, ready to kill again. Like, keep stabbing it in, right? Right? This is what they did in Friday the 13th Part 4. Corey Feldman's character where he kills Jason is the perfect way to kill the psycho killer that's been terrorizing you. Anything less than that is stupid. It's just stupid. Jamie Lee Curtis's character has seen this man be shot many times. Fall from a 2-story building. Walk off. Then he was shot once again a whole bunch of times. Blown up. He was in a room with several tanks of explosive gas. They blew up, caught him on fire. So the explosion didn't kill him. The fire didn't kill him. But stabbing him once and him falling onto a table, you're safe that he's going to die? She's getting ready to stab him again. LL Cool J runs in and says, "No, no, no, that's enough. He's dead." Wait, why? How do you know he's dead? Stab him again. What's the big deal here? That was, oh God, this movie annoys me watching it. And so at this point, they put Michael in the coroner's van, and Jamie Lee Curtis steals a gun, takes the van, drives off. She sees Michael starting to get up. Now, and I know this is what most people do. Instead of stopping the van, going back there, and proceeding to kill him, no, she drives the van off a cliff? Why? Why would you do that? At any rate, driving it off the cliff, Michael flies out and gets stuck between the van and a tree stump. She walks over, stares at him, he reaches out like he wants to help, and then she gets all angry and takes the axe and lops his head off in one clean swing. Again, stupid. Stupid. She doesn't have super strength. It would take several whacks to chop his head off, but again, who cares? So now we've killed Michael Myers and ended the legacy, right? So, no. It didn't end the legacy. Halloween Resurrection brings back Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis. This time, it took them 4 years to make another sequel. My guess is Jamie Lee Curtis needed the money? I don't even know why she would agree to do this movie. Rick Rosenthal is the director, done a lot of TV stuff. Again, I don't know what the TV themes are with these movies, but it seems to be a very common connection. This also has Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes in it. Hip and cool. Keep in mind, we're hip and cool, guys. We have people from other mediums in the movie. So, the 8th entry to this installment takes place after the events of Halloween H2O. Laurie Strode is in a mental hospital because, let's follow this. At the end of H2O, apparently, Michael Myers keeps 2 masks. One he wears and one he hides somewhere. Up his ass, right? So, he took one of the security guards who didn't have his build. But he took the security guard that was not dead. Not dead. Taped his mouth shut. Put the Shatner mask on it. Then somehow, the coroners found this body, which is different proportions than Michael Myers, and alive, thought he was dead, put him in a body bag. Okay? And keep in mind, Michael did have another mask. He had another mask because we see him put it on in the flashback. So he pulls the other mask out of his ass, puts it on. So Jamie Lee Curtis accidentally murdered an innocent man because he wasn't reaching out because he was Michael. His mouth was taped. He was trying to say, "Don't kill me. I'm not this guy." So Michael not only knew she was gonna take this man, but he knew she was gonna take him out somewhere and try to murder him alone, and no one would remove the mask. It's just stupid. It makes, I don't know, stabbing a metal spear into a corpse and electricity hitting it and him coming back, it makes that look totally scientific. So, I guess I couldn't pay Jamie Lee Curtis very much either. She's only the beginning of the movie, where Michael comes back, and she's got him hanging off a building. And he reaches out again, and she flashes back, "Oh, it could be another trick!" So she walks up, he grabs her, and they kills her, and she dies. Wow, really? You went through the effort of bringing Jamie Lee Curtis back just to kill her off? Oh... Well, then this crap fest continues, and it's a reality TV show where they go to the Myers house and they have to stay in it, and it's being broadcast on the internet in a live type of setting. They've got the house wired up. Michael's, of course, in the house, and he's killing people. One of the kids has been texting with one of the stars of the show. At any rate, I'll give credit. Busta Rhymes, pretty cool in the movie. He's actually one of the more likable characters. Oddly, Tyra Banks isn't annoying at all. But he plays the producer of the show, and he's got to make his money. Well, it goes through... Michael's killing them off, and they think it's part of the thing, and then at one point, the kids get mad because they realize everything was fake. What? This isn't a real show? You mean you set all this up? Oh no! Because they find out Busta Rhymes is walking around in a Michael Myers outfit. And they get mad and want to quit. I'm not sure what dimension these people come from, but first of all, reality TV is always staged. How and what their sense of ethics is so great they can't be on a TV show that isn't real. All the dialogue in this movie just seems like padding out to more death scenes, and the climax of the movie kind of fight with Busta Rhymes and Michael Myers, where Busta whips out his kung fu. Again, trying to be hip and cool. Of course, it doesn't matter. The man can't be killed through normal means. Why bother? Wow. This is a franchise killer. It's a piece of crap movie. It's not entertaining. It's really stupid. It's hard to get through. Boring. I mean, they had the hip and cool internet streaming with all the kids watching it too. It's just, it reeks of 40-year-old plus people trying to do something that they think looks hip and cool to the kiddies. And God, is it terrible. Don't watch it. I wouldn't even bother. I mean, if you really want to watch the whole series, just end with H2O. It sucks, but this movie just, it's painful to get through. If you can find it for $2 or less, maybe get it. Ugh. So that ends the original series of Halloween movies before the reboot. And again, I don't even know what to call it because they whack out half of them for continuity. So, I mean, it's a mess of a series. Nowhere near as confusing as Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which we'll do later. But the continuity is so buggered, it's hard to even call them a series. It's just dude wearing mask kills people. So they kind of knew that. So in knowing that, they waited 5 years to attempt it again. This time they decided to go with a full reboot. Rob Zombie remade Halloween. First, one of the things I will say what I liked really good about Zombie's version, Scout Taylor Compton, love her as Laurie Strode. Way more than Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, way more. I don't know, maybe I just have a personal thing against Curtis, but I really, really liked her version of Laurie Strode. I liked it. Now, Zombie is a admitted fan of Halloween and horror in general. I don't think anybody could deny his fan of a lot of great movies, exploitation flicks, slashers, whatever. So he set out to make a movie different. So I'll say up front, I do like Rob Zombie's Halloween. I can't consider it a remake, and I can't compare it to the original, because it's a totally different film. This is a complete reimagining. And if you compare them, they're so different, they don't feel the same way. Zombies movie is a psychological drama / splatter flick. Carpenter's is a suspense thriller. They are distinctly different films. Most awesome thing Zombie did, Danielle Harris is back. Now, she's playing I forgot her name, the brunette character from the first one. But she is back, and she gets naked. So there you go, Danielle Harris naked. Great reason to watch this movie. I like the acting throughout the zombie flick. He does something, he goes back and explains the origin of Michael Myers. So the first 40 minutes of the film are McDowell playing Loomis, talking with the child Michael Myers, and we begin to understand why he was crazy. We see his family and how twisted they were. There's, lots of abuse, some theoretical incest going on. But plus, we're led to believe Michael was a psycho from the get-go. He was never a normal kid, killing animals, etc. So you've got a much more reality-based killer. Carpenter's Michael Myers is a supernatural being of evil. Zombies is a psychopath. That's what he is. He does a great job of establishing that. The kills are violent, and they are brutal. There's no wincing, no mercy, just flat-out killing. He nods every chance he can to the original. Same scenes even kind of occur, but in this different world, a different type of environment, the Rob Zombie world. And he changes some stuff at the end. He makes it a little bit different. And I think that works. I think that makes the movie stand up on its own. It's a cool flick. Again, obviously not part of the other continuity, but shoot, H2O and Resurrection, God knows. This movie is cool. It's a good splatter flick, very violent. Zombie does some awesome visual stuff throughout it. It's a solid story, beginning to end, and there's some surprises in there at the end. It is not a straight-on remake of the first one. So you get a little bit different stuff happening at the end, and that's cool. And again, I really liked Laurie Strode's character in this one more. I felt like she was more personable, more relatable. just more real to me. I don't know. Jamie Lee Curtis's character always seemed a bit strange to me. I never liked her as Laurie Strode. So I really like that. And I think it's well worth checking out Zombie's first Halloween. Now, of course, as with all movies, if it does well, which Rob Zombie's Halloween remake did good, you gotta get a sequel. That brings us to Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. Only a couple years later, you have the entire cast coming back. Danielle Harris is back again. There were a lot of problems with Halloween 2. First and foremost, the studio kept meddling with Rob Zombie. He's been very vocal about it, and he didn't like it. Second, they released the movie in the theater before he was finished filming it. I don't know. They wanted it out by Halloween that year. He said it's not going to be done. They said, we're going to release it anyway, and chop together some mess of a movie. So I don't know if I don't know how much I can blame Zombie for the movie. The problem with this movie is you've got a lot of people that are confused. The characters are confused. The cinematography is still pretty cool. It's worth watching for a visual part. The opening sequence in the hospital is really good. After that, it all falls apart. And Michael grunts every time he stabs. Now we learned that his mother gave him visions where she's on a white horse calling him home. What? And it's disjointed and confusing after that first dream sequence till the end of the movie. Loomis is now just a scumbag profiteer. All the girls even look kind of grimy, like they don't wash their hair. They don't... It's a dirtier movie. I mean, there's some nice visuals in it, but you get to the end of the movie, and Michael has kidnapped Laurie again, and first they show him without his mask. Didn't like that. He kind of looks like a homeless hobo. Kind of ruins the mystique. But he gets killed at the end, because again, in this, he's not supernatural. He is just a psychopath. But then they, of course, kill Laurie Strode too. And I guess they're called home to their mom and the white horse. If you've seen the movie, you'll understand how it's almost hard to even review it, because it's confusing and doesn't make any sense. It's easily Zombie's most incoherent movie, and House of a Thousand Corpses was a bit odd, but it's worth watching for a visual aspect. It does look cool. There's some great scenes. There are some great, violent, brutal killings, but as a movie, it is confusing. Again, even as a mess of a movie, it's still better than H2O Resurrection. So there you have it. That is the Halloween series. Will we see more? Probably another remake at some point. But they're interesting flicks. If you haven't seen them all, I recommend checking them out with the warnings that I've provided. Let's talk about the video a little bit. The video quality is kind of all over the place since all these movies are owned by different people and different studios, so we'll probably never get some kind of coherent box set. But I'm going to run down with what we got. We'll do them, as fast as we can here since it's already really long. So the original Halloween 1978 movie, 10 out of 10. Great. The current release of the Blu-ray, 7 out of 10. It definitely could be better. Halloween 2. Movie's a 7 out of 10. The Blu-ray, very nice. 9 out of 10. Check it out. Halloween 3. Season of the Witch. The movie, 6 out of 10. Again, not really that great, even not in a Halloween context. The Blu-ray, however, is very good. Chock full of extras. 9 out of 10. Halloween 4. Movie, 8 out of 10. Enjoy this one. Good slasher. Blu-ray, 7 out of 10. It's passable. They really haven't done much special with it. Halloween 5. 7 out of 10. Blu-ray also, 7 out of 10. Again, nothing special, but it's passable. Halloween 6. The movie itself, 6 out of 10. Blu-ray, 6 out of 10. I mean, it definitely needed the producer's cut. It's the best it's ever looked, but still not that great. Halloween H2O, 4 out of 10. Not a very good movie. Blu-ray, 6 out of 10. again, they're using whatever source they had from when they first loaded this into digital. Halloween Resurrection, 2 out of 10. It's a terrible movie, don't bother watching it. The Blu-ray also, 4 out of 10. It's not even in its original aspect ratio. So, if you really want it, hunt down one of the foreign prints. Rob Zombie's Halloween, 8 out of 10. Blu-ray, 9 out of 10. Lots of extras, very good quality. No complaints on the release. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 movie, 5 out of 10. It's a mess. It doesn't make any sense. Blu-ray, 8 out of 10. Again, needed some more on there, and hopefully something would explain the mess of the movie. So, there you have it. That is the Halloween series. I hope you enjoyed this review. Be sure to like the video, share the video, and give any comments you'd like. And we'll see you next time here at Movie Mayhem.